Okay, so here we are live, and it's been a while since we've done one of these Masters of the Universe Origins, but this isn't just any Masters of the Universe Origins. We can see this is He-Man and the Masters of the Universe cartoon collection. Yeah, this is Filmation's Teela. How about that? So I always have been really fond of the design that Filmation came up with for Teela on the He-Man and the Masters of the Universe cartoon. It was not an entirely original design. It was actually a little bit inspired, uh, for being generous, but basically they reused the design for Princess Aura from their Flash Gordon cartoon and just kind of retooled it and made it look a little bit more like the action figure. But yeah, if you check out the design of Princess Aura on the Filmation Flash Garden cartoon, Teela is a dead ringer for her. You can see some of the elements that carry over are the high collar on her suit. The original Teela had, kind of a high collar, but not anywhere as high as this. But, Aura already had kind of a similar outfit to what Teela wound up having in the action figure. So it kind of made sense to, Filmation, waste not, want not. They were a very frugal studio. And see, I've got this big stack of boxes I need to take down to recycling. And they didn't pick up the recycling last week, and that's kind of part of why it's all piled up here. I need to get that taken care of. But yeah, so yeah, they reused the design of Aura as Teela, and I think it worked out really well. We can see the cross-cell artwork on the back. I did not see Stratos or Merman, unfortunately. I only saw Teela and Trapjaw, and oddly enough, the previously released Zodak figure from Origins looks like it got a re-release. I think that was the only 3 figures in that case, because I can't imagine somebody snatched up all the Stratos and Merman figures. I have to imagine that Stratos and Merman would have hung around longer than Trapjaw if they had have been in that case. But I did see plenty of Trapjaw, I did see plenty of Teela, and I did see plenty of Zodak. So I'm guessing it was those 3 in there. Got a nice piece of artwork here of Teela fighting this robot that she comes with. It says Pawns of the Game Master. So not only is this based on the Filmation cartoon, it's based on a specific episode of the Filmation cartoon, which had this training robot in there as an extra accessory. Twist into powerful battle positions, as we're used to on the Origins figure. And we can see that she comes with a sword and a shield also. And this is the sword that it very much resembles the one that she had on the Filmation cartoon. Yeah, I haven't had any Origins figures in a while, mainly because the distribution on them has been terrible around here. And it's been just that wave of Sorceress and Jitsu and Fleshy Stratos that's been hanging around like forever. And they finally started clearancing those out. And lo and behold, these pop up at Walmart. Oh, and also those Turtles of Grayskull figures that I haven't really been collecting. I did get the Shredder, but that might be the only one I wind up getting. I don't know. If I see another one that impresses me, I'll pick it up. But so far, only have the Shredder. Let's go ahead and open her up. Oh, I do want to real quick look at the background. It's the image of Castle Grayskull that we're all familiar with, that, worm's eye view of it from the cartoon. So that's pretty cool. We'll start from the top and then peel her down. And then we got a little comic strip in here that says Time's End. We got a little booklet that shows us what parts are removable from Teela. And let's go ahead and have a look at the comic strip. Okay, so there's the first page. And it says, Eternium Rock, the material which powers my kingdom and all beyond. Amongst the rarest, most precious resources in the realm, it can be found only in the forbidding desert, the sands of time. Okay, it's Randor talking. Okay, so I can start talking in a Randor voice now that I know who it is that's talking. Our supply is on the edge of depletion and must be replenished. Teela, as captain, I task you to retrieve the Eternium. Up for the challenge? And we can see Teela is in a desert-type outfit, and she says, always. Teela set out on her expedition through the sands of time, seeking the hidden ore that, legend told, lay in the heart of the Chrono Desert. After a long search and a few false passages, Teela found what she was looking for in the mind of an ancient statue. However, she wasn't alone, and then we see a portal opening up and Trapjaw's inside of it. And there she is again in her desert outfit. And it looks like Trapjaw has like a jetpack with a energy trail coming out the back. Surrender the Eternium to me, girl. Little does she realize that she isn't the only one seeking the Eternium. Oh yeah, we just saw that. Then there's a huge tornado, and Teela looks kind of shocked. And it says, striking without warning, Teela and Trapjaw are swept away by a time storm. Their destination? Preternia. These dinosaurs in the background. And it says, I don't know what I want more, to live or to kill you. The feeling's mutual. If we want, we must work together. So be it, she-warrior. You know, I gotta say, for a comic that's supposedly Filmation-centric, this does just kind of feel like a traditional mini-comic. This probably feels to me more like a traditional mini-comic than any of the ones I've read so far, and He-Man hasn't even shown up yet. Who knows if he even will. So, at the bottom of a lava-filled chasm, I don't know why I almost said chasm, Trapjaw spies the Eternium ore. He uses his grapple claw to seize it. Oh, that's neat. He can fire his claw like a grappling hook. I didn't know that. That should give the kids a little more play pattern for it. Hang tight. Is it just me, or no matter the age, someone yearns for the Eternium? No, not just you. And then she throws her shield all Captain America style. Chew on this! The battle of wills is more a game of mind than might. Against the Crimson Hydra, Teela found this to be true. Begone, beast! Escort you to oblivion! And then blub, blub, blub. He melts away. And then Trapjaw has his fly swatter in. And she says, what are you going to do? Swat me to death? I saved you once. I won't make the same mistake twice. Give me the ore, girl. Lucky for Trapjaw, vengeance would not have its day as a time storm struck again. And then we see Teela's unicorn charger, and the king kneels before her. Oh, and Orko's floating around in the background. My, that was fast, Teela. You just left already, and already you have the Eternium. Our realm is saved. The time storm, it brought me to this moment. On my journey, I encountered Trapjaw. Both of us were swept away by the storm. I wonder where or when he was sent. And then we see Orko conjures up this image of Trapjaw in some stocks, and Skeletor kind of berating him. Oh, as it turns out, he just arrived back at Snake Mountain. Timing is everything, isn't it? So yeah, that was a pretty fun comic. It was nice to see Teela get the spotlight. Somewhere other besides the Masters of the Universe Revelation cartoon. But it did a good job of highlighting her as a character, and Trapjaw made for a pretty great villain, as he usually does. It's cool to see some of the side characters take a little bit of a center stage every once in a while. I like seeing that. So, Skeletor did get a little bit of a cameo. I kind of expected maybe He-Man might pop up at the end, but I guess, he's probably off doing something else. But let's go ahead and move on to the action figure. So, Teela comes with a shield, and it's a very shiny shield. And you can see that this is in that kind of rusty red color. That if Teela had snake armor and her staff, it would probably be in that color as well. But she does not come with those things because she never wore the snake armor on the cartoon, and I don't believe she ever used her staff on the cartoon, but she often used a sword. And as we can see, this is very much based on the design of her sword from that cartoon. And then stuck in here at the bottom, we have the training robot. Now, the training robot doesn't have any accessories or a stand or anything like that, but the arms are articulated, and in fact, they were pointed in a downward position when I took it out of the package. But you can see he's got that camera eye in the front, and he's got the blaster and the knife fight with the training robot. It would have been nice if they'd give him a little bit of stand so you could display him in a floating position, but no such luck. She does have some rubber bands holding her in, but not too well. I managed to yank her out anyway. So, but by the way, I do have more Origins figures that I need to get to, even though, like I said, distribution's been horrible lately. I did get Mantenna a while back and never got around to opening them for whatever reason. And not too long ago, I found Leech on clearance at Walmart. So I at least have 2 more members of the Horde that I can be opening up soon. So yeah, and I've got more Masters of the Universe, Masterverse figures on the way, because I've got some of the new wave of those that first appeared at Walmart, and oddly enough, the wave of those that recently appeared at Walmart has Teela and Trapjaw again. So I guess we can't get away from them, can we? All right, so let's go over her articulation. Teela can look up about that far. She can look down about that far. She can tilt her head kind of quizzically from side to side. Turn the head all the way around, move it around in whatever position you want because it's on a good ball joint. Teela's arms, Teela, like I'm British. Teela's arms rotate at the shoulders. I'm one of the Beatles. But yeah, her arms rotate at the shoulders. Supposedly they are removable. Yep, there we go. So you can swap parts around with other female characters in the Masters of the Universe Origins line. This is a rubber armor piece, so I believe it's removable. I don't know if it's intended to be removable, but we're going to remove it anyway. Looking at the sheet, it looks like it's supposed to be one solid piece, but it does seem to be kind of moving around a bit, and it is stretchy, so I think we can pull it off if we're careful enough. So yeah, that's what she looks like underneath the armor, in case anybody was curious. It's just like a little one-piece bathing suit kind of thing. So I'm not a pervert for pulling that off. She's still wearing clothes. So I don't want to hear anybody, making any kind of perverted references. This was for science, for the sake of the review. Although, like I said, this is like a rubber piece. So I would advise, if you are going to try to remove it, I don't believe it is intended to be removed. So do so with the utmost of caution if you're going to do that. So word to the wise. I'm probably never going to take it off again. I just pulled it off out of curiosity for this review. And then I put her arm back on wrong. I put it on the wrong side. But you can do that, and that's good to know for custom purposes. I'm betting that probably the reason they did that is because that way they can, the real reason they did that is so they can just swap out various armor pieces or various tops or vests or whatever. Like, say, if you wanted to make a Princess Adora figure, you could reuse this entire body and just make a separate piece for her vest, or maybe even paint the vest on. I don't know if you're feeling that cheap. But they did do a nice job with the sculpt. It does look a lot like her outfit in the Filmation show. I'm impressed that they decided to go with like a metallic gold color, because oftentimes you don't see that with these Filmation figures. Oftentimes they just go with like a matte color. So yeah, her arms rotate all the way around the shoulder. Her arms bend at the single joint of articulation at the elbow, bend about 90 degrees. And of course that rotates all the way around. Her wrist rotates all the way around, and then it has a hinge that moves it back and forth horizontally. So yeah. She does have, to address the elephant in the room, she does have a more detailed sculpt to her posterior than the vintage or the Origins versions of Teela have, and that is, of course, accurate to the Filmation cartoon. Because I'm not going to lie about this, when I was a kid, I noticed that Teela had the best drawn butt in any cartoon that I'd ever seen. Like, even as a kid, I noticed this. Teela's leg kicks up about that far. bends at the knee, single joint. That's about how far that bends, and of course it rotates all the way around. She does have a boot cut, so the boot rotates all the way around, and then she has rocker ankles that point down about that far, point up about that far, and can move from side to side. And I suspect, although I didn't think to grab one to compare, I suspect that that is the same legs that were on the original Origins Teela. Well, not the original one, the ones that they fixed the knees on. So the second Origins Teela, technically. And she does have a really nice head sculpt. Looks a lot like the way that they drew her on the cartoon. Maybe a little severe, but you know, she could tend to be a little bit bossy on the cartoon. So, but she does look quite lovely. And like I said, this was a reuse of the design of Princess Aura, so like I think she carried over a little bit of Aura's kind of haughty superiority, but kind of put her with her hands on her hips, just kind of berating Adam for being, you know, such a lazy bum. You're not much of a prince. Only you could be more like He-Man. So let's go ahead and put the weapons in her hand. So, like I said, Teela comes with this sword that we saw her using a lot on the Filmation cartoon. I always wish she could have come with this sword in the toy, because I thought it would have been cool to have her with a sword. She just had that staff, and there she is with her shield. And now she is ready for battle, so we can have her go up against this training robot. Something Man-at-Arms invented, obviously. So, Teela always was one of my favorite characters in Masters of the Universe. And I remember my grandmother got her for me one time, just as like a not even any kind of special occasion present, but just kind of a present. And she was one of my favorite characters ever since. Like when I looked at her on the back of the package, I wasn't sure what to make of her because she had that snake armor. And to me, as a kid, you know, you tend to associate the snakes with the bad guys. So I thought she was a villain. But then in the mini comics, you read her in the mini comics, and it turns out she's a good guy. So I'm wondering why she's wearing this snake armor on the figure. But then when you get the figure, she doesn't come with the snake armor on. It's packed in the package behind her, and it's like, oh, she looks like she looked in the mini comic, and she's got like a cute face, and you know, she's clearly a good guy. But you know, she's got that extra snake armor that she comes with because the intention is that you were supposed to put the snake armor on her when you were pretending that she was the goddess, and that she was just supposed to be like without the armor when you pretended like she was Teela. So she was supposed to be two figures in one. But outside of the mini comics, I don't think any of the other media really took advantage of it. On the Filmation cartoon, of course, the character that we knew in the mini comics as the goddess was heavily modified into the character that, in fact, so heavily modified that when they did Masters of the Universe Origins, they decided that the sorceress and the goddess were two completely different characters. So yeah, Teela's design was on the cartoon, obviously was drawn to look like how she looked. Her design on the cartoon, I thought she was really cute, and you know, she still looked like, you know, tough and badass, even though she was like a pretty girl. And that's kind of what you want Teela to be. Like I like the sculpt of this figure. I like the way they did her thighs, which looked very much like Frank Frazetta, like the way he drew like women with thick thighs. And of course, Frazetta was like a big influence on the Masters of the Universe line overall. But Teela, especially if you look at like some of the early sculpts where they were working on her, it's obviously like Frank Frazetta was an influence as far as like the way they sculpted her face. She has a very Frank Frazetta type face, and she has those thick thighs. I mean, obviously, that being a child's toy, they kind of toned down the sexiness a little bit, but she was plenty sexy enough for me when I was that age. I did have a little bit of a crush on Teela, I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, I'm happy to have this figure in my collection. I think she looks great. You know, it's one of those things where when I first saw they were going to do Origins versions of the Filmation characters, or Filmation versions of the Origins figures, I was kind of on the fence about it. Like, I kind of figured some of them I might buy and some of them I might not. I'd actually made a couple of customs of some of the Filmation characters, so I have a Filmation He-Man and a Filmation Skeletor already in Origins format. I've never been crazy about how they translate Beastman from Filmation into action figure form, because I feel like he needs his fur. He needs that fur detail to him. That's why I didn't like the Club Grayskull version. But I will probably get Merman, because I love Merman, and I really do like the Filmation design of Merman. I might get Trapjaw if there's still some around and I've got the money for it at the time. So, but we'll see. But Teela, I definitely wanted to have because I like that design of Teela specifically, and I'm really happy with the execution of this figure. I think I like this one better than the regular Origins Teela. So yeah, definitely happy that I picked this up. But that's it for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. I'll be back tomorrow to open up something. Maybe I'll get some of these other Origins figures out of the way. Maybe I'll finally open Mantenna, since I've had him for a long time and been meaning to open him up. So maybe that's what I will do tomorrow. He's pretty buff. I think of Mantenna and I think about how they drew him on the old cartoon, and he was like a skinny little guy on that. But here he's pretty ripped. But we'll talk about him more when I open him up. If you want to make sure you don't miss that episode, please make sure you like and subscribe. All the fun YouTube stuff down below. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think about Teela and just the figure specifically and the character in general. I'm interested in hearing what you think. We will talk to you next time. Bye.